The class of 2011 has 12 people that will be inducted. Presently, we have, say, 278 members, and this 12 will give us 290 members total.
All the inductees are very involved in the community. I mean, something about sports that if you're in sports, you do other things too on the side, help people out, coaching, working nonprofit, whatever it's going to be. So all these inductees are very involved in that, which is great. So I'm going to ask each one to come up alphabetical order. If they're not here, I know that Jim Wing's going to answer questions about Dave Baldwin. So I just asked him some questions, and that's what we do right now. Then at the banquet, the inductees get to, they give their speech. So first up will be Jim Wing talking about Dave Baldwin.
Dave Baldwin, obviously if I'm representing him, I'm a better athlete now than I ever was. But interesting guy, very much what I would consider a dominant force in the athletics scene. 1955 to 1960, dominated baseball, right-handed pitcher in southern Arizona. Badger, Tucson High School. In fact, he started at, thanks Bobby, but in fact he went to Catalina Junior High, Tucson High, graduated in 1956, and he was 17-1 in high school. They won a state championship in 55, 56, All-State in 56. So yes, I did follow his career. He went to the University of Arizona, 57, 58, 59. He was 23-5, as the bio tells you.
He played the major leagues for a while. He spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. I think when I first came up, I was in Denver in '73. He was in, I think, with Des Moines, Iowa. It was the end of his career that year. So he played the major leagues. I guess did he play under Ted Williams a little bit there?
Signed with the Phillies, spent 5 years with them. Traded to the Washington Senators, who Ted Williams was their manager, and that in itself becomes another story. But 1966, he was on their major league roster. 67 was his breakout year. He had 12 saves, 58 appearances, and spent 16 years in professional baseball.
Frank Coronado, come on up here, Frank. Everybody that played baseball back in the 60s and 70s, 80s, you knew who Frank Coronado was because you coached a lot of semi-pro teams, right?
Yes, I did. I coached for about, well, I was a player manager all the time. I had Tucson Gas, Tires West. I started with the Pirates back in the city leagues, but after junior high, starting in high school, I only played for two coaches. It was the legendary Lee Carey and the legendary Bobby Hart. It's the only two coaches I ever played for. So I learned a lot of baseball from the best.
Talk a little bit about your Cinco de Mayo softball in Nogales that you do.
Okay, I've been kind of spearheading a senior softball tournament in Nogales, Arizona. And it's called the Cinco de Mayo, and we just had in May 5th, or around that weekend, we had our 12th annual. And we get teams from New Mexico, Colorado, mainly Arizona, and other places I can't think of right now, but anyway, mainly those states. We end up with about 18 to 20 teams. And what we do with that, it's a benefit tournament. And we get the money from and help underprivileged kids. We help the food bank in Nogales. We donate a lot of money to Santa Cruz youth programs and Pima County.
Next up is Rashida Jeffery. I was looking over her bio and I thought, I got to meet her because she, 4 years varsity starter at Tucson High, volleyball, basketball, and track. I don't know if any athlete has ever done that. You check that out sometime. Any athletes played 4 years, 4-year starter, and you were all city, I think, for 3 straight years in basketball too. So, come on, guys, just some questions here. Okay. Could you do that today? I mean, with club teams, could somebody come into high school right now and play 3 sports like you did?
These days it's kind of rare. Most coaches prefer for students to just focus on one sport. So back then I was a 3-sport athlete, which I think gave me a better opportunity to get a college scholarship.
But you were one of the top basketball players in the nation, so you went to SC on a scholarship. Talk about that a little bit. How many schools you were thinking about going to? What made you decide to go to SC?
I was recruited by, how many, Dad? Over 100 schools. You know, some of the top schools in the country. My parents didn't allow me to stay in Arizona. So it was honestly a proud moment for me to go to the University of Southern California. There's a lot of tradition there. I'm a proud Trojan and always will be in this land of Wildcats, but I really love my experience there. It was great.
You were inducted into the T Club back in, I guess it was 1999, so that's an honor too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think as an athlete, I think we're so used to going through the routine, get up, go to practice, do all of that, that we kind of lose sight of what we do is actually fun, and it's nice to get accolades for it. And even more so now with me, like I can't run, I can barely walk a city block. I think it's great to be honored in that people actually have thought of you and have remembered you. So this is like one of the greatest achievements for me.
Jim Ferguson, so you come out here from Chicago. Your dad became the basketball coach at South Point, right?
That's correct, and that was 1963.
So what was it like coming out here? You were a big basketball guy all along when you were a kid.
Yeah, my first thought was where was I going to play basketball when I got to Tucson, because I was used to running around the gyms at Mount Carmel High School in Chicago. So I was happy to go into Saw Point and see the gym and start playing. And from there, I found the downtown Y with some of my old cronies back here. And we used to play at the downtown Y. We lived down there in the summer. I mean, if it was 35 years ago, we'd be at the downtown Y right now.
Then you get into coaching. You start out, I guess, a freshman coach at Santa Rita.
Yeah, right off the bat, had a great group of freshman kids that came in. Gary Lewis who's now the coach at Tucson High, was the star player for me. And we had a team that year that went 18-0. And I thought this coaching stuff was pretty easy. And I remember saying to my assistant coach, Ken Ray Don at the time, he was the JV coach. And I said, you know, I'm going to win at least 10 games a year on coaching alone. And the second year we won 3 games.
And you win 2 state championships at Santa Rita.
We won 2. We won in '99, and then we won in 2010. Both great experiences. Good kids, good players, great experiences.
You're 5-time Southern Arizona Basketball Coach of the Year. And what is the Dick McConnell Boys Basketball Coach of the Year? What is that?
11 years ago, I just thought that with the coaches in Tucson, there's been great camaraderie, you know, starting with my dad at Saw Point and seeing all the guys that he had an opportunity to coach with. I just had a vision that I wanted to start a banquet at the end of every basketball season to try to get all the retired coaches and current coaches and together for a yearly banquet and honor a Coach of the Year and name it after Dick McConnell. So that was something I started 11 years ago, and it's always been a good night for us.
Casey Esparza Pfordt. Now Casey is a tennis player, CDO, 4 years, #1 tennis player at CDO.
I'm proud to wear Dorado green, and again today, I see Coach Anderson here, back coaching at CDO. I love the school.
Now you obviously had scholarship offers, but you decided to walk on at the U of A.
My dad, who isn't here today, but I actually think my dad probably is here today. He was determined that we were all going to be raised Arizona Wildcats, and when we talked about going to some other schools, he said there was a fine little university right down the road, and he was sure I could play tennis for them.
But so you walk on, and you got a scholarship pretty soon after that.
I walked on, and in October signed a full ride scholarship. I went to an out-of-state tournament with the team, and it was ironic. The ASU coach was talking to me, and I mentioned that I wasn't on scholarship, and she said, "You're playing #1." And she said, "Where is your coach?" And we had our first-year coach, Ann Lebedeff. And she said, "Ann, I'm going to do you a favor one time. if you don't sign her to a full ride, I'm going to offer her a full ride, and don't ever bring your top player to a tournament unsigned, because I was recruitable, I guess, to other schools.
I was visiting with someone about a year ago, and their daughter comes down here to play tennis. She's young, and he was telling me that the City of Tucson tennis program is one of the best in the nation.
The Park and Rec Department is strong here. It is led by Jim, and he runs a beautiful facility over at Randolph, and I'm one of the satellite sites at Himmel Park. And I've been at Himmel for 20 years, and we're very fortunate to have the facilities we do here.
Cy Ganem was first of all, a tennis player, captain of the U of A tennis team, and then he started teaching, I guess, at Wakefield, but he quickly went to Tucson High.
Yes. Okay, I was just going to say, if he were here, I know he'd be greatly honored to be receiving this award into the Pima County Sports Hall of Fame. So I want to thank you all, and all the people who thought of him and voted for him. What I would like for people to remember him for is that he took players and coached them, boys who had never picked up a tennis racket, and coached them into becoming champions. So he had a number of students who went on and received honors as players.
Larry Martinez. Larry was he was an outstanding cross country and track at Sunnyside, one of the top. Your record here, you were first team All-State 3 years, and a dual record of 50-0.
Well, I was very lucky, but I tell people that was like 50 pounds ago. So a little different, but I was real lucky. I had a great coach, Coach Mielke, ran with some great athletes, Art Menchaca and Ruben Reese, and our teams were win 50-0 through high school and state champions, and I was lucky enough to win a couple state championships myself, and because of that, ended up at Pima College, and our team ended up second in the nation, and with 5 of the kids from my high school team. With that, ended up at NAU, with some guys back from Sunnyside and from some Tucson area people, and ended up winning several Big Sky championships, and kind of led me into teaching.
And you also coached cross country.
Yes, I went back. My first teaching job was back in the Sunnyside district. My middle school coach or middle school principal offered me a teaching job. Got into coaching, and I have to tell you, I was very lucky. I had some great athletes. I had several state champions. I think about 7 or 8 state champions and high school All-Americans. And I have to tell you, I couldn't have done the coaching though without my wife, Kip, over here, because she's the one that watched my kid, made sure everything was okay. And didn't give me grief when I came home at 9 o'clock at night because somebody's parent didn't come pick up their kid. And I think all you coaches know, that. And so, if it wouldn't be for that, and because of that, I got into administration. Was real lucky, got to work with some great teams at Rincon and Palo Verde, and that's how I met Mr. Darcy here.